Hello everyone, and welcome to one of the other videos that I'd like to share with you today. It's just been quite a while since I posted last video as well. Just been very busy at work here, so I'm not having enough time to share a couple of things I'm coming across. But today it seems like I wanted to share one thing with all of you about how to interpret and program and what to expect a hold in the Dash 8 Q400 aircraft, which by now all of you are following me. You know it's the aircraft that I fly, and I have always tried my best to deliver knowledge of what I get as I come to learn new things. We always learn new things in aviation for as long as we are in the career, no doubt. And the whole responsibility is to share and to extend the knowledge that we get on any little thing or big things that we come across. But first and foremost, because this video is coming out now, I wanted to first of all just be a bit more personal and express my heartfelt condolences to what has happened in India with the crash. I am producing this video straight after 2 or 3 days that this tragedy happened, and my prayers are with all those who perished in this very, very big tragedy that the aviation world has faced. And indeed, it is not something that we hope for, but we pray that we get the results of the investigations that will take place as soon and as concisely as possible. And my prayers go to all of the souls on board, the crew, the passengers, and also the people on the ground that faced this tragedy and perished from this world. May their souls rest in peace, and may God bless their families with strength, with courage, and give them the power to stand this loss each one has had in their families. It is not a very easy thing to digest, so we pray for them. And I am just a very small YouTuber, but my only advice is not to say anything until the reality comes out. It is not very nice to make guesses and saying, I think it was that, when we don't know what the truth was. So let's leave all that to those who will be doing a detailed investigation, and sooner rather than later, when all the bits and pieces have been put together, everybody will come to know what the truth was. That would be maturity and being more wise in how we interpret such situations where we were not there, we were not in that aircraft. Those who were there were the ones experiencing what we wouldn't hope anybody to experience. So sitting on the ground and forwarding guesses isn't good, neither is pointing fingers good, until the reality is unfolded before everyone. That is my opinion. So even at this point, if somebody had asked me, what do you think happened? I would say, I don't know. And I'm not here to guess until the results of the investigation come out. That's the best. I think let those souls go and rest in peace. They did what they could, and we pray for them. That's all I can say. Right, having said that, let's go to today's presentation on how to program hold. So, as you know, my videos are very simple. They are not very flashy or decorative in a sense. I just use a pen and a paper most of the time, or maybe a simulation if I need to, or some graphics that I take from the instrumentation in the aircraft and explain to you based on that. Today will just be a pen and a paper and just tell you what you should do when you are encountering a situation where you've got to hold. As you may, some of us may recall, we don't do that many holdings most of the time because everything is timed so perfectly and sequenced so perfectly that delays on holdings are minimized, or the controllers try to minimize the holding, unless the holding is coming from the crew. Maybe they are facing some issues that they want to resolve. That's a different story. But from the controllers, to keep the flow moving, they minimize holding delays. They try to. But in busy airspace, obviously, holdings do take place. In stacks, people descend. And for that reason, I just wanted to bring before you, for those who don't know, how to interpret the programming of a hold in the Q400 FMS, which is a UNS-1 Universal Avionics 1E format, version rather. So I'm just going to show you a very simple example, what to do and what to expect, and then how to exit the hold and the like. So let's go there, and I will see you on my desk with a pen and a paper next to me. Right guys, so what you see here is a very simple RNAV profile. The aircraft is coming from this direction, going to the initial approach fix, and there are initial approach fixes at A2, A3 as well. This is A1. Then you have the initial fix and the final approach fix. Typical RNAV layout where you've got the T-shape scenario. All RNAVs, basically, they will be of this format, normally. Now, we are coming from here, and the ATC tells us that there is a bit of traffic. There is a traffic ahead of us which is a bit slow. For example, it's one scenario. Okay, there are many scenarios for the ATC to tell us to hold. There can be runway closures temporarily. There can be weather somewhere here where we want us to wait so that it dissipates, or we have a slow aircraft ahead of us that we want to give way so it can pass. So what we do in that case, we come overhead the Alpha 1, A1 initial approach fix, and here let's say it's a non-standard left-hand pattern. Just for argument's sake, normally standard patterns are right-hand, as we all know. This is a non-standard left-hand pattern. Now, how do we program the hold in this particular situation? It's pretty simple, actually. What we do is that we go to the nav page on the FMS, select maneuver, that takes us to holding definition. We click on the holding definition, which is on the left hand side on the line select key LSK number 1, if I'm referring to the aircraft that we've been flying. And then on that page, those of you who know, we will be able to see the actual pattern of the hold at the particular fix, and it's going to give us a lot of details on that hold, like times, inbound course, outbound course, holding entry pattern, and the like. There's quite a few things that are detailed on that page. So we can program that hold well before we even reach that fix on that nav page. Okay, and we can enter all the details from the plate that we need. Sometimes it can also be our missed approach point, where after we do a go round, we have to go to that particular point. So let's say we can combine those two together, and in this presentation we can also talk of that. Let's say the same Alpha 1 waypoint here alpha 1 was our misapproach point. So for example, let's say that the approach said that, okay, if you go around, after takeoff, you will make a right-hand turn, and you're going to go to this particular waypoint, the initial approach fix, and you pick up the hold. The same holding entry rather, okay? There are two things here now. One is a scenario where you use this fix with a missed approach, and the other when you are directed to hold by the ATC. Not a missed approach, but you are coming in for an approach and landing, and you are told to hold. You see the two situations, right? They are different. One is a missed approach, and you have to hold, and you try again, or divert, depending on the situation. Or the other one is when you're coming into the airfield, and you want to hold at that point. Okay, so what we do in that case, when you select DTO, direct to function, that same waypoint, alpha 1, which you saw, will have two different indications. One will have a star, and one won't have a star. It might just say hold, or if it's also holding area, holding fixed rather, other than missed approach, it might just say A1, or let's say A1 with an H/H, for example. The one with the star, remember this, the one with the star is the missed approach usage of that fix. So when you go missed, you're going to select the one with the star. The same fix, one has a star, asterisk, and the other doesn't have. If you go missed, you're going to use this for missed approach, this one, with a star. This one is for any other approach like what we're discussing now. We are coming into the airfield, and the ATC says, please hold at alpha 1 because of slow traffic ahead of you, so that you can give way, all right? So that's going to be this one without the asterisk. Just remember the two, okay? So then obviously I said you go nav maneuver, holding definition, and then if you program that, it's also fine. Or you can, if you are instructed, you can just press DTO. On DTO, if the holding at this particular point is existing, regardless of being a missed approach fix or not, it will still show you the hold. So you're going to go nav maneuver holding definition, and on the same page you'll find DTO. Okay? When you do DTO, it will take you to that particular point. Now here's where things are interesting that people need to know. When you do DTO to this particular point where now you want to hold from the holding page, nav maneuver holding definition, you have DTO. Some will say arm, so you just arm it in case you have to use it. Some won't have the arm function, they'll just have DTO. So when you DTO to A1, okay, and the FMS recognizes, it's also a holding fix. What it's going to do in this FMS on the dash 8, it will remove all the other subsequent waypoints ahead of us. So for instance, if I bring back my paper here with all the other waypoints in, it will remove all these points which are sequenced. These won't be there. These I'm just showing you of RNAV procedure, because let's say if you are going to do RNAV via A1, it will be A1, B, and C. If you do RNAV via, let's say, A3, it will be A3, B, and C, and so on and so forth, A2, B, and C. These I'm just showing you as a typical RNAV layout. But if you do via A1, these won't be there, obviously, unless you put them on the fixed page for reference. That's another thing. It's fine, but otherwise they won't be there. Okay, so these will be removed. These will completely be removed, okay, and all you're going to end up is seeing this sort of layout. When you reach A1, this whole thing which was white will turn into magenta, and then the aircraft will follow this holding pattern. And here you are in the hold, you've set your altitude, respecting the restriction. Don't forget to respect the restrictions at A1. Sometimes they do say you must be at this altitude or above because of terrain considerations and the like. So you're going to be holding here. Now they say you are now cleared for the approach. So what do you do? What do you do in this FMS system of the dash 8? You can do one of two things. Okay, that one of two things is on the same holding page you have a function which says proceed. Okay, that's you click on proceed and something will happen. Or you will do DTO to the next waypoint. You're holding on A1, remember. Let's say, for example, you do these two things sequentially, either of those, when you are here. Okay? So, You have entered the hold, and now when you reach here where the black solid dot is, the controller says you can now continue the approach, and you are cleared for the approach rather, and report so many miles final or the like. What do you do? Fine. From here, if you click proceed, what's going to happen? The aircraft won't just go and establish itself on the track to the runway. No, it will continue. It will. I just want to put this clamp here. There's a bit of there's an overhead fan, so I just want to set this paper like this. Okay, now that's much better. So if you select proceed here, the aircraft will continue the hold from the fix to the fix rather, and from there, when it reaches the fix, automatically it's going to bring up these waypoints. Remember, when you are holding, these are not there. Nothing was here. You were just holding. On the MFD, you'll just see the hold. You will not see anything here, and you might think, oh, what's happening? Where are the other waypoints gone? In some systems, some FMSs, you have all of them still there. But this one is strange. It removes all these. Okay? Now when you press proceed here, proceed will make you complete the hold. Okay? So you'll complete the hold again here, and then from there, it will calculate that, okay, from now we can proceed to the next waypoint. Okay? That's one thing. But that's going to be a waste of time unless you want to do that. Sometimes you want to keep time. So what you can do, another alternative, is to just do DTO, DTO to the next waypoint, which in our case was the initial fix B. Final approach fix is this one, initial fix D. So if you do DTO to initial fix, which is B, okay, and then you will have a line which will be drawn to that B. From your position, it will be a line like this, straight to B, and then all others will come as well, automatically. In the first one, proceed. Once you complete the hold, then these one will come. If you do DTO to B, this pattern will now disappear, and it will just tell the aircraft, go from here to there and go and land. Yeah? But remember, you are still at a particular altitude here. In LNAV, you are in LNAV here. Remember, you are in LNAV, in the magenta mode. So now, if you do DTO to B, you have to tell the aircraft now that, okay, now I'm going there, but now I've started descending. This was, for example, I was holding at 10,000. Now I've got to go down, and then I've got to meet my final approach fixed altitude, my platform altitude for the approach, so I can configure the aircraft from here going downwards. Yeah. So it has to be there has to be a descent point. So what you do there, you go VNAV page, set the vertical speed, line select key 1 right on the top there if I'm not mistaken, and when you do that you get top of descent. Okay, you get top of descent, then you'll get top of descent alert where you're going to push VNAV. So when you reach this particular point, now the aircraft start descending from where you were, let's say 10,000, now it's going to start descending with a continuous descent final approach profile. You call it CDFA all the way until you take control of the aircraft in the final phases. So you must understand that if you just remain with that altitude, it won't make sense. You have to go and set the vertical profile as well. That's going to give you a top of descent. You can use vertical speed heading select, you can do all sorts of things, but as the saying goes, that as much as possible use the most highest mode of automation, then degrade depending on the situation. Okay, so in that case now you are all good and clear to go and land. So remember, proceed will make you complete the hold, then you go. DTO will just take you to the next waypoint. Then you, either way, whatever you do, don't forget to set the top of descent. Just go to VNAV page, set the vertical speed you want, and then you get the top of descent indication. And the top of descent alert will come again, push nav, and then the aircraft will start to descend. Remember, you have to set low altitude. So in this case, if you are holding at the initial approach fix, you will set obviously the final approach fix altitude, okay, unless otherwise instructed, because then you want to reach there and then you want to start to descend. Sometimes people who don't want to do this, for example, okay, this maneuver, they say, okay, we are fine from here, we can just go, weather is good, everything is fine, why don't we just go to the final approach fix? So we just go straight like that, like this, okay, all the way there. It's quite possible as well, depending on the profile of the aircraft and how the FMS calculates. You can even go straight like that. What would you do in this case? Well, you will do DTO, okay, to the waypoint C. And this case, now we're going to do VNAV, VTO. And then you select C. So from here you can start descending continuously. Remember, terrain can be a factor, but if it's not, then you can continue descending all the way with VNAV, VTO to C. So in this case, DTO to C, and it will be in LNAV, and you must remember that LNAV should be there for VNAV to work. This will not work if this is not there or any of its submodes are not there. You're meant to be in LNAV, LNAV heading select, LNAV intercept for the VNAV function to operate, otherwise it will not. It won't work in heading select, it's not possible, okay, in this particular aircraft system. So you can even do that. There are many ways you can program, okay. So the top of this and the vertical speed will depend on your height and your distance. Remember, if you are too high and too close, the FMS will say, I can't do this, you know, because it means that it might tell the FMS that, okay, you want me to go there, I have to dive, you know, and then that won't be possible, you understand? And that's a very important point. So please remember that all the time be safe and know what your automation is reading. You don't just press anything without knowing what it might result in. Otherwise, garbage in equals garbage out, and you know that's computers, all right? Anytime you feel things are going funny, take manual control, reset the whole aircraft again, and reprogram it, and then you're good to go. I think that has made sense somehow in how the holding concept in the FMS of the Dash 8 Q400 works. Any other tricks and any other knowledge that you can share, please do so. We're all learning from each other. And as I always say, please be safe. And till the next one, whatever I learn again and share, I shall do so, as I take it as my responsibility as an aviator to do that. Go well, stay safe, and once again, thank you very much for being here.
In the air till the very last moment, despite the terrible